All right, good morning, everybody. We are going to get things started. Again, I apologize for the delay this morning, so I thank you for your patience as we work out some of our streaming here. So I do want to say good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Skills Ontario Young Women's Trucking Federation of Canada Career Exploration event. This event generally focuses on students who identify as female. However, due to the policies and procedures put into place due to COVID-19, we are offering our program co-ed. My name is Lindsay Chester, Young Women's Initiatives Program Manager here with Skills Ontario, and I will be your MC for the day. Also from Skills Ontario is my colleague, Emily Collard. She is our Director of Programs. So to begin, we are going to start with some housekeeping items. So please keep your microphones muted and your cameras off. Please use the chat function if you do have any questions during the event, and we will do our best to answer them as they come. So before we begin, I do want to acknowledge that the province of Ontario is situated on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, Cree, and Métis people. There are 46 treaties covering the province of Ontario, including 3 number treaties, 2 Robinson treaties, 2 Williams treaties, and 30 Upper Canada treaties. Skills Ontario recognizes and deeply appreciates their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contributions Indigenous peoples have made in shaping and strengthening our community. Our events would not be possible without the support of our many partners and event sponsors. We would like to first thank the Government of Ontario for their long-standing support of all of our programs, including our career exploration events. We would also like to take the opportunity to thank our program sponsor, Magna International. Without support from partners like this, our Young Women's program and events would not be possible. A thank you also goes out to OYAP for their continuing support and promotion of our events to their students. Thank you to our event co-host, Women's Trucking Federation of Canada, for being here today and for providing us with this amazing opportunity to dive further into the various careers and opportunities available within the trucking industry. And thank you to all of our speakers who are joining us today, as well as iMVR, who are here with us today to share their stories and inspire you to think about your career options. So today our hashtags will be hashtag Skills Ontario and hashtag Let's Get Trucking. Tweet us, snap us, and tag us on Facebook and Instagram at Skills Ontario and at WTFC7. So who are we and what do we do? So what is Skills Ontario? So we are a not-for-profit organization, and our goal is to promote the skilled trades and technologies as a viable first choice career option for youth. So we run a number of different programs with staff across the province. So we offer things such as our in-school virtual presentations, which we now offer from kindergarten all the way up to grade 12. And we also have a parent guardian information series. New this year, some of you might know, we have our Drunk Door races. We also have included a number of new events within diversity, equity, and inclusion. We also have our career exploration events, just like the one we're at today. We also offer our Young Women's Conference, which is the largest in Canada. So details about that event will be coming up shortly. It is scheduled to happen in May. And we do offer 2. So we offer fully English and a fully Francophone event as well. Sorry about that. We also offer First Nation, Métis, and Inuit programming as well. We have a Trades and Talk podcast, which you can definitely find on Spotify. And of course, we cannot forget, we also offer our Skills Ontario competition, again, which is the largest skill trades and technology competition in all of Canada. So definitely take an opportunity to check some of those out. So why are we here? So I want to talk more about why you're here. We want you to be aware that the skilled trades and technologies offer many opportunities that can lead to bright, stable, and successful futures. Today, you are going to hear from speakers who are currently working or training in these professions. They are going to share their career journeys and give you an opportunity to ask questions. This is your chance to start answering your own question of what do you want to do after high school? which sometimes might seem like an impossible thing to narrow down. Not only do we want you to think about the skilled trades as rewarding careers and as a possibility for your future, but we also want you to start recognizing how so many different skilled trade and technology careers surround and impact you on a daily basis. In everything you do every day, you have a skilled trade and technology career to thank. From the water you use to brush your teeth, the roads you drive on to get you places, to the phone you use to text your friends, to the transportation of supplies that we buy at the store. Another really big question we want you to be able to answer by the end of the day is, what does it mean to be successful? You will get a different answer from every person you ask, and today you get to dig into that definition a little bit more. A career is much more than a job title. Your career is something you will spend a minimum of 2,000 hours doing every year for most of your life. Today is about exploring careers, asking questions, and hearing from our speakers. By learning about their careers, this allows you to see the different possibilities available, as you cannot be what you cannot see. Knowing these careers are out there will open more possibilities for your own career path. So taking a look at our agenda, so again, my apologies for our delayed start. After this, we will be receiving opening remarks from Women's Trucking Federation of Canada, followed by a Women in Transportation panel, an opportunity to get a glimpse into the trucking industry. And then we'll have the opportunity to see how technology is connected to trucking. So this will be really cool. It's an iMVR live stream. And then we'll be aiming to wrap things up, hopefully by 11:30 today. So not only do you have the opportunity to hear from women who are currently in the industry, but you also have the opportunity to win some pretty awesome prizes. So you are eligible for a prize by simply taking a screenshot of the event today. You don't have to be in the picture. We just want to see that screenshot of the presentation and then post it onto social media using the hashtags Skills Ontario and hashtag Let's Get Trucking. Make sure that you are tagging Skills Ontario and WTFC on this event, again, for your chance to win one of 3 gift cards. And I know there's definitely a pretty good one in there from Mark's Work Warehouse. So definitely I encourage you to take the opportunity to tweet about the event today. So as we dive into today's event, teachers, as you screen share with your virtual class, we encourage you to spark up questions from from your students and enter them into the chat box. So as a reminder, please remember to keep your microphones muted and your cameras off. At this time, I would like to now introduce the CEO of the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada, Shelley. So please welcome Shelley.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. If at any time through the presentation you feel like you're not getting enough information, or because it's such a short day, please reach out to Lindsay and she can forward our information on to you, and we would be very happy to come in and do it in your class one-on-one. I would like to very much thank our partners, Skills Ontario, for the opportunity to present to you today. And I'd also like to thank a few of our corporate members, LaFarge Canada, Contrans Tank, Waste Management, iMVR, and Mark's Commercial for their support in putting on this presentation today. So I will not keep you much longer. Let's move on to the panel. Sorry, tongue-tied today. And let's remember to use the hashtag Let's Get Trucking.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Samantha Clark. I sit on the board for the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. And just to give you a little background about myself, I've been in the trucking industry for 12 years. So since I was 24 years old, I currently manage a truck training school here in Barrie, Ontario. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I absolutely love this industry and everything it has to offer. And thank you so much for wanting to listen to what we have to say today. So I'm going to introduce, I have 3 ladies in our panel today that I'd like to introduce you to, and they're going to be answering some questions for us. So first we have Michelle Martin. She is the Area Director of Fleet for Waste Management. Michelle started her career with waste management in 1998 as a temp helper. She was immediately drawn to the driving aspect and obtained her commercial license in October of 1998. After an 8-year driving career, she transitioned into the leadership side, and for the first few years, especially on a beautiful sunny day, would think about her time behind the wheel. Longing for some sunglasses, the radio, and open window, in her career with waste management, she has worked as a leader in operations, people talent, recycling plant operations, and now in fleet maintenance. Michelle believes her time as a driver and the skills she learned was a stepping stone to a successful career. Still today, she continues to draw upon her driving skills. Currently, she is the fleet director and has the pleasure of leading maintenance professionals in Ontario and Quebec as they strive for gold standards in their core fleet processes. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us today. Next, I'd like to introduce Darlene Shaw. Darlene is with LaFarge Canada. Darlene has worked for LaFarge for over 22 years. She started her driving career as a school bus driver, but then got her ASA license to expand her career in the trucking industry. She wore all the shoes with LaFarge in the beginning, but now she is a heavily respected, relied on, and a big part of their business. Thank you, Darlene, for joining us today. We're going to get to the questions shortly. So we have everyone off of mute here. So we're going to get to some questions. I have a question. I know I kind of gave like a brief kind of rundown of what you guys do, but just to hear it from you. So Michelle, can you give us a quick rundown on what a typical day would look like for yourself?
Yeah, like if we want to talk about, in my time with driving, I would say that it would be to go to the yard, to do a pre-trip, complete a pre-trip and make sure that the truck is safe to drive. And then when for me, I drove a residential garbage or recycling truck. So I would go from home to home and collect, waste or recycling. And I know it doesn't sound, glamorous, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I worked alone. I liked being outside, getting the fresh air. That time in my career, I can certainly eat all the McDonald's I wanted and still stay fit. So it was like a gym and a job at the same time, which was pretty cool. And, there was the team aspect too. So anybody that appreciates, sports or working as a team, we would work together to get some of the routes done. And I found that, neat. And then we would take breaks together as well. So, and then at the end of the day, you complete your post trip. But, something that I always found was I appreciated being one of the few females in the garbage industry at the time. I thought it was a badge of honor. Like being able to keep up with the guys, and there's a competitive side of me, and I felt that fulfilled it too. I never had to worry about not having a job, any sort of recession. Like there was always a need for truck driving. And honestly, out of all my friends, I'm probably the only one who can parallel park, so there's also, I was never scared to drive in the snow. So there's also some personal gain when you're out there driving along. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. And what about yourself, Darlene? What would be a quick rundown on a typical day for yourself?
Yeah, okay. So that's kind of a tough question for me because a typical day really isn't all that typical. It varies so much. I mean, some days we do 2 loads and it could take 4 hours each, or some days it could be 6 loads and they could be, an hour to unload sort of thing. It just varies so much. We do so much in our specific industry. Like we do anything from curbs to sidewalks to anything you can think of concrete. Like there really isn't a typical day, which I enjoy because that's what keeps everything so interesting with us. So I mean, I don't really even know how to explain the vast majority of it. It's just, it really is that different.
Absolutely. And keeps it interesting for sure when you're doing something new and exciting, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And Nicole, what about yourself?
If we're talking again with the trucking industry, a typical day is not always typical. Because I do long haul, it would be I would get a load, I would go pick up my tank and hit the road. And that's my favorite part for me. I get a dispatch and I plan out where I'm going to stay, how long it's going to take me to get there. And yeah, then from then on, it's music and podcasts and audiobooks and talking on the phone with other drivers or friends and family. It really is a freedom feeling for me every single day that I drive. I do like when I get a load that I'm driving for more than, a day or two to get down there, because again, I don't have anyone breathing down my neck. I don't answer to anyone. I just kind of have my freedoms. If I'm tired, I can pull over, take a nap if I want. If I want to stop and have like dinner or lunch or whatever, I do. Um, then I deliver my load. I find a tank wash it out, reload, and head back and do the same thing all over again. And yeah, so that's I get it. It's never always typical. You can always have a wrench thrown in there with blowing a tire or breakdown on the road, and but yeah, those are definitely my favorite days. Just music, podcasts, audiobooks. Yeah, that's a pretty typical day for me.
That's amazing. And it looks like you're joining us from your truck today. So we're getting to really experience, the feel of it.
I'm never out of it.
That's amazing. So Michelle, I'll start with you. What inspired you to get into the transportation industry?
I got into it by accident. I'm not gonna lie, but then when I got there, especially at that time in 1998, it was really the garbage world, or the collection world was really a boys club. So I think in the beginning I just stayed at a spite to get good and like prove everybody wrong. And then I became to love it. And then I'm like, I want to drive this truck and I want to drive that. And it was just so much fun. And like the comment that was just made, like there's this freedom and independence with it that I was just so drawn to. And then, it's a great living. So for me personally, I wanted to drive a truck where I went home every night and had weekends off. The garbage industry provided that for me. And then with a corporate company that I work with, once I started growing up and maturing a little bit, I started realizing, this company is so big, I can drive for now, but there's so many different departments that, I can change my career and still stay within the same company. So.
That's amazing. Darlene, Nicole, would either of you like to add anything to, I guess, the inspiration behind your trucking career?
Yeah, for me, much the same as Michelle. I just kind of fell into it. My dad actually worked for LaFarge, and the previous job I was in just wasn't financially going to support some of the dreams that I had. So that was a big thing for me. I mean, LaFarge definitely offers a much higher wage, benefits, and pension sort of thing. So that's really, again, I'm not going to lie either. That's really my whole idea of even starting. So yeah, I mean, once I got there, same thing. I really, really enjoy what I do. I have a lot of fun with coworkers, and they've become my friends. And yeah, it just really is a great industry to be in.
Nicole, would you like to add anything?
Same thing. A lot of my inspiration was just, well, like I said, I was broke. I wanted to make a man's wage, what I considered a man's wage. I had college student loan debt that I had to pay off, and this was a way to make good money, travel, and yeah, I liked being able to like bridge barriers and making what you would consider a man's wage. That was my inspiration.
I love that. Yeah, like I work in a trucking school myself. So and we help the students get a job right after, and it's amazing to see how quickly they can get into the industry, making an amazing salary. So it definitely is an incredible career to be getting into for sure. So Darlene, why should other women consider the transportation industry as a career?
Well, I think they should consider it because, I mean, it really isn't something that people have considered for a long time. I mean, 22 years ago, I was one of the first females in, ready mix for sure. It's just not something people think about on a daily basis, and you can earn a really great living doing it and enjoy what you do at the same time. So, I mean, for me, I think, just telling my story and getting the word out there, there's more people that are like us and, want to do the same thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Like nobody really realizes what it's all about. So that's what we want to do, is get the word out there. Michelle, Nicole, would you guys like to add anything to that?
I think it's also how you want to live your day, right? So Nicole mentioned before about not necessarily having a boss like watching you all the time. Like I do love that. I'm responsible. I want to meet, the expectations, but at the same time, I love the freedom. And then I like not having to brush my hair every day. I like jumping in a hat and a bomber and some work boots, and I like the comfort in that it's not all about, like having to do makeup and hair every day. Now, every now and then I brush my hair just to feel like a woman again. But, at the same time, I love the relaxed environment that you usually get in the trucking world. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. Nicole?
For other women, I think for my recommendation on why I would recommend it to any female, because I think I had something holding me back for a while. You have this expectation that it's going to be a certain way because it's a man's world. But honestly, I have had nothing but support and people helping me or being encouraging. And yes, I've made mistakes. And any truck driver, when you make a mistake, you'll have a truck driver and they try and one up you and say, oh, you did that? Well, let me tell you my story. And that has been one of the so anything you have in your mind about what you think it's going to be like, or that you're going to be treated differently as a female, I guarantee you're going to get more support. You're going to have the odd person here and there that tries to bring you down, but that is minuscule compared to the support that you'll get right from trucking school to today. Like there's never a day that goes by that I don't feel supported as a female in the industry. And you do so far with my experience with dispatchers or customers, you do actually get told on a regular basis that women have an upper hand in the industry. We work harder. I feel like we have a little bit more to prove because we're in a man's field. So yeah, anything that you think you're going to run into, I could tell you right now, it's the opposite.
I love that. Thank you. Nicole, what are some benefits of working in the transportation industry?
Well, the money, of course, because we don't work for no reason, right? But actually, it's given me financial freedom to do things, like I said, pay off my student loan. I live a very comfortable life. So again, going back to what I had said, it's the freedom. It's the fact that I have adventure every single day. I consider myself a paid tourist. Before I started driving, I had never even left Ontario at all. I've been to now every lower 48 state except for.
Oh, I think she got cut off. There she is.
Sorry, technical issues here.
No worries.
Yeah, so I have been in all the lower 4 states, and except for Oregon and Rhode Island. So at this point, I'm just missing those two, Alaska and Hawaii. I've been coast to coast in Canada and everywhere in between. I fully take advantage of the fact that I am paid to go to all these places, whether it's been on my time off when I am out on the road, you rent a car, you take an Uber and you go to national parks or Vegas or New Orleans or Nashville. And so that's a huge benefit for me. And beyond adventure, I think the personal growth that I've had as a person has been huge. So the confidence, the growth and confidence in myself, whether that be able to walk into not just a truck stop restaurant, but if I decide I want to go and take myself out for a nice steak dinner tonight, I have no problem going and sitting down and buying myself a steak dinner, or taking myself to the movies, or doing all these things by myself. It's really made me grow as a person. Above and beyond that, I have learned to admit when I've made a mistake and to learn from it and grow from it rather than beating myself up from it. Because I was so passionate about this industry, I knew I was going to take those mistakes into consideration and learn from them and move forward. Again, I'm not afraid. I've grown this confidence to be able to ask for help when I need it. I'm never going to be naive enough to think that I know everything. And being able to stand up for myself as well, because I think you can get pushed sometimes in the industry, but you're respected for being able to have your own voice and stand up for yourself. So for those things, it's above and beyond just a job and money, and it does so much for me personally. So those are huge benefits for me, as well as what Michelle was saying, the versatility of the industry, period. If you decide to do long haul like I do off the bat, and your lifestyle changes, you can now reevaluate your situation and do local runs, or you can do dispatching, or there's so much opportunity. So yes, you can start off in a adventure like I did, and as your lifestyle changes, you can really change um, yourself in the industry as your lifestyle changes. So that's a huge benefit of the industry as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicole. Michelle, Darlene, would either of you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, so for me, very much the same. However, a little bit different in the fact that we are home every single night. And for me, I've raised two children. I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. So, I mean, right through pregnancy, I drove being 8 months pregnant, which was a little sketchy at times. I mean, but still, I mean, you can do it right up until before you have the baby. So, I mean, I'm home every night, able to make dinner for the most part, and enjoy my family life, and I don't have to do the long haul. So for me, that's what works for me.
Amazing. Michelle?
Yeah, just to speak on versatility more, it's just it's just endless. So we talked about different ways when it comes to driving at home or long haul. Like how Nicole mentioned, even getting into dispatch, a lot of drivers who go into dispatch are usually pretty good at it. For my industry specifically, I see a lot of drivers even switch into being a welder or a mechanic, or to drive a wheel loader, bobcat, skid steer. So if you like to operate equipment, there's usually other avenues you can take there. I would say that for us, it's like benefits too. So RSP, match, even stock purchase plan, then other benefits that we have as well. I think from a confidence standpoint in driving, that's certainly, I love that feeling personally. So I think that was really nice. And then, the sense of community that there really is. We see the motorcyclists kind of nod to each other as they drive by, or the Jeep, crew that give each other the peace sign. There really is this trucking community, and there's so many facets to it. So it's just really endless. It's an endless world.
Absolutely. And you hear that from everyone. The opportunities are endless. You can literally do anything you want right out of school. So it's pretty incredible. So something I'd like each of you to touch on. I know a few of you did mention already, but do you feel that you were treated differently from your male coworkers? Would anyone like to jump in and add that?
Sure. I can start. I'll say maybe in the in the beginning, certainly I wasn't treated very good in the beginning. So I was temp. I was 18. It was 1998. But I really feel like the culture has come a long way, and it's certainly something that companies are teaching and educating, and then even not tolerating when these things happen, which I think that we're in a much better state. But what I typically find is you know, people will look at you when you first walk in the yard if you're a female. And I think it's just curious, like, ooh, what, you know, what's she going to do or what can she do? And the moment you get in the truck and then you show the skill set is to match theirs or even better, then it's like they almost like support you more than their male counterpart. So I feel like that's what I've found anyway.
Yeah, we hear that a lot for sure. Darlene, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, so for me, when I first started, I had a really, really great support system. All of my coworkers like really took me under their wing. Any questions I had, they were really, really good in supporting everything. As far as our customers go, yeah, definitely was the odd one that, you know, wasn't sure what to expect when I pulled up on the job site. I mean, even still today, there is the very, very odd one. Maybe some of those older fashioned fellows on the job still questioning. I mean, I guess that's to be expected. But really, for the most part, everybody has been really great. And yeah, I mean, I have no, as Michelle had said, I mean, even more so being a female, once they can see what you can do, you know, they often ask to have you back on that same job site. Is it always, you know, available? Maybe not, but they do. I mean, they ask for me now, and, you know, I do feel proud to be that person.
Amazing. Nicole?
I mean, I think it's a matter of you're treated different period in society, whether you're a man or a woman. To me, I actually think it's been beneficial to be a female in the industry. I think sometimes you get a little bit more patience, especially off the bat when you're first learning. Yes, I agree with Michelle. You do, or like, you do get looked at, I guess, sometimes, where I've had people where it's a hard backup and I look at them like, oh, this is going to be a fun one. And I come back and I turn around and I've got an audience now. I've got 7 of them standing outside eating popcorn, drinking coffee. And you get backed up the first time. They're like, oh, we thought we were going to have a show. Like, it's, but for the most part, you do, I think maybe you get complimented more on your driving skills. If you do back in, or if it was a more difficult thing and you were able to do it, you do get, oh, well, you know, I've seen some men try to do that for an hour and fail. So I guess in that sense, as for my dispatchers and my operations managers, I know I've been complimented that I think it might be a benefit to have a female worker, because you were like, something happened, my truck breaks down, I was late, and they said, well, okay, fine, we'll let you unload, kind of a thing. But no, I feel like, yeah, I've had a really good support system. I've had nothing but people willing to help and let you ask 10 million questions. And yeah, so I feel like the industry has come a long way. I feel like there are so many more female drivers and people are more accepting that we're just as able to do the job as men. Yeah, so.
Amazing. Perfect. So last question. So I'll start with Michelle. If there was one thing you'd like to say to the audience today, what would it be about our industry?
Oh, I think it's really underrated. I think that, you know, well, maybe I did. I'll speak for myself. But you certainly think about different jobs, whether it's a lawyer, doctor, whatever the case may be, and that's where you're drawn to. You think that you can't have success maybe without school, university, etc. And there's just so much opportunity, certainly in trucking, but, you know, all skilled trades. And the more that group gets depleted, the more that group is needed, and the salaries are even raising up even more. So if we thought we could make a good wage before, it's getting so competitive that you can almost, like, you can have a job in 5 minutes. And it's just really neat to see. And then also you probably then have a personal skill set that you can bring back home, you know, in the world of DIY everything, you know, or just even driving and not being nervous, etc. Like, there's some personal benefits there too.
Absolutely. Darlene?
Yeah, so the one thing I'd probably like to tell everybody is, I mean, yeah, again, it is typically a man's world, but it definitely doesn't have to be. Females are more than capable to do these jobs, and it is a great job to have. It does give you more confidence. it financially supports, you know, some of the things that you want to do in life. So I say, you know, if you have any interest whatsoever, you know, give it a shot.
Thank you. Nicole?
I would say do not let what you think something is going to be about ever hold you back from doing it. It has been the greatest passion of my life. So if you're like for again me, I will go on and on about long haul, but to be passionate about it, it's not a job. If you want to be passionate about a lifestyle, it is an option for you. It is. Yeah. I mean, don't ever let that voice inside your head telling you that it's going to be hard, or you're going to be judged because you are a female or anything like that ever hold you back, because it's honestly, it could be, like it was for me, the best decision that you ever made.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today and telling us about everything you've been through. And Lindsay, I'd like to open it up. I don't know if any questions came through.
I haven't seen any, but I do have one that kind of came to mind as you were talking as well. Are there any training or courses or certifications that students could take while they're in school, or anything that they can do to prepare themselves to get into this industry?
So while in high school?
Yes.
Well, I know, I guess there are some, you can do the trucking, the TDG, that kind of stuff, brush up on that kind of stuff while in high school. There are a bunch of online courses. Ladies, do you have anything? I know to get your actual AZ license, you'd have to have your full G. But for online courses while they're in high school?
Yeah, I guess it depends on how serious, I can't remember now, it's been so long, but if you are seriously looking to get your license, the Z endorsement piece is over the weekend. I can't remember though, if you need your D, no, you can just go get your Z without having your D or your A. So if it was, depending on which route you're going, because I think some AZ trucking schools do both in the class. So you really got to pick kind of are you going to go DZ, which is straight truck, or are you going to go tractor trailer AZ? And then you could do the Z, if with the D, you could easily do the Z just on a weekend.
Absolutely. And even I know non-COVID times, of course, but I know a lot of companies, I know schools myself would be more than happy to give tours, ride-alongs, that type of thing. And I do know some companies that are involved in, just so you can kind of see for yourself what the industry has to offer and what options are out there.
There's always an option with co-op too. Depending on the area you live, if you know that there's a trucking company and you're interested in it, you could always ask to do a co-op. And at that point, I went into the industry having no idea about a truck, period. I remember not knowing what a glad hand was on a truck and not being afraid in class, be like, oh, what is that? I have no idea. So even those things in a shop, at a trucking industry, a company, I know a lot of companies that hire out of school would likely be willing to take on a co-op student, show them kind of the back ropes. And they would have a better leg up than I did to start off with in the industry, even if it's in a shop, to even understand the smallest mechanical side of a truck.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. I do see we have a question in the chat. This one is specifically for Nicole, and it's asking, why did you choose tanker?
So I started off pulling a van for a large fleet company. Unfortunately, they went bankrupt. And then I worked for an LTL company, which is less than truckload, so multiple stops. I was thankful for that because I had to back in some crazy places, had to do it multiple times a day. And I just got to a point where I felt at a standstill, I guess, because I felt like I was good at my backing skills. At this point, I was opening a door to unload a trailer, and that was the rest of it. And so I wanted to try tanker. I did dry bulk tank first. And I will tell you, if you think a liquid tank looks cool, but a dry bulk tank had blood, sweat, and tears involved. But a challenge is always rewarding. And a lot of it did have to come with just wanting to learn a new skill, and look cool while doing it.
Awesome. So we have a question that has come in also from our team's side. What kind of timeline to driving coming out of or so I guess what's the timeline, or how long would it take to get into the actual driving coming out of high school? If that makes sense. So I think they're asking, for the most part, if you're 18, you have your G license. So how long would it take then to get those additional licenses to then be able to drive?
Right now, the AZ course is 6 weeks. So usually 6 to 8 weeks, our students are getting licensed and on the road. A lot of companies, they do put you through like, I guess, a training on, because I mean, the schools to get the license do so much, but then a lot of companies have some finishing programs in place as well to learn, you know, the skills of being out on the road and doing the deliveries and crossing border, if that's what it is you're going to be doing.
Awesome. So just because I know too, just as a follow up, you've been talking about some different types of licensing. So there's the DZ, AZ. What do each allow you to drive?
Samantha, you gonna take it, or
if you want to take it, Michelle, you are more than welcome.
Okay, I'll speak to my world because that's the one I know the most. So from a DZ perspective, that's all I ever drove. This is like your straight truck. There is a weight limit as well, but essentially a straight truck is like your box truck. So like a garbage truck, you know, maybe some of your small Home Depot trucks where it just looks like really a cube sort of truck, or when you rent, you know, moving vans over the weekend. Some of those don't have air brakes, so you don't necessarily need the DZ, but it kind of looks like that.
I think too, so with an AZ, specifically, it's a tractor trailer, so a truck with a trailer. In Canada, we're actually lucky that we don't have a graduated licensing or special endorsements that you need to pull an extra trailer. So I've actually done trains, so double trailers. My AZ gives me that. If you do your transportation of dangerous goods, you're able to pull like hazmat. So like I do sometimes with a tanker. Yeah, so yeah, you could basically pull when you're driving down the highway and you see a truck with 2 trailers or a truck with 2 really long trailers. Anything that has an articulation point is going to be covered under your AZ.
And then just to add to that as well, the AZ covers you for this. So if you get AZ, you can drive a DZ class vehicle as well.
Awesome, thank you. So there's another question that came in as well. It's a bit of a 2-part question. So it is, I hear a lot about supply chain issues and problems. Does this mean the industry is growing? And then the other part to that is, do you expect it to be easier or more difficult to find work in this industry in the future?
Michelle, do you want to talk?
Sure. So in my world, I would say that supply chain is affecting our maintenance side more to get parts for the trucks. But from a DZ perspective, if you're, you know, again, I've only lived in the garbage world, but from a DZ perspective, there has been for our drivers no slowdowns. Not in, I think there was a smaller recession in 2008. Not in COVID. Nobody's missed any time. There have been no layoffs there. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but I would say that I personally am not worried about any sort of work impact due to slowdown or supply chain issues from my end.
So as far as LaFarge goes, same sort of thing. It's construction, so it's always growing. We have had no slowdowns either, right through COVID, no time off. it in fact seems to be getting busier. So yeah, no issues there.
I've not slowed down. I'm a person who likes to work though. I go, 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 go. And I haven't had an issue with that. They haven't ever stopped being able to keep me running. And it same goes for anyone that I know, my friends in the industry. I feel like we're all keeping very busy. I know that there's a future skepticism about electric trucks and these self-driving trucks at like Amazon and all these Tesla trucks that are coming out, but I feel like that can only go so far. So much of my work is done by a driver. I mean, you can get a trailer from point A to point B, and that's about it. So I really don't. I know I've had people say that to me. Aren't you worried about self-driving trucks taking over your job? No. For one, the number of trucks that are on the road, you're never going to replace those at any time soon. And there are so many jobs out there that just cannot be done by a self-driving truck. So no, I feel like I have like job security for the rest of my life. Like I will retire doing this.
Perfect, thank you. I don't see any further questions in the chat, so sorry, one last quick question though. Sorry, this came to mind. What is the percentage of female drivers or females in the industry? Sorry, tough question.
I think it's 6%, I believe, isn't it? 6% in Canada. I know it all depends on what I know. When I worked for a van company at Hindman, we had tons of women, amazing women. Then I moved to LTL. There was only one other female there. That wasn't in a team. Here now on my chemical board, there's me and actually one other, Joanne. She's actually on the Women's Trucking Federation board as well. Yeah, we're the only two here. So I mean, it all depends on your industry, but I believe it is 6%. Don't quote me.
Awesome, thank you.
Shelly just messaged, so it's 3.5 in Canada and 7 in US.
Perfect, thank you.
Alrighty, so if there's no other questions, we have next, we're going to show you a glimpse at trucking. We have some fun videos we want to show, and some the ladies here in our panel made some videos for us. So we're going to show those. But then we also had, another lady truck driver, Haley. She pulls livestock, and she was supposed to join us today, but she did get called out last minute. So unfortunately she could not. However, we have, she sent along a great video for us to share today. So I'm going to get that going. Just bear with me.
During high school, I was completely lost as to what I wanted to do with my life. Luckily for me, I got a summer job out of school in the parts room of Railcar Transport, and there I was given the opportunity to be trained and obtain my license and take semi-trailers to trade shows. I jumped on it, and on my first trade show trip, I knew driving was for me. It's humbling that I actually get paid to drive down the road and take in the scenery this beautiful nation has to offer. I love that I get to work with livestock every day and that my job is still somewhat physical. There are so many trucking jobs available, you should be able to find one that fits your schedule. You can either home every night if you wanted or go for several days or weeks at a time. Being a truck driver provided me with a stable income which helped me become a homeowner at the age of 22. A large percentage of companies nowadays offer a full benefit package, and some even offer pension plans. I have met some truly incredible people thanks to trucking, and I now consider them my family. Every day is a vacation, and you love your occupation.
So that was one from Haley. And then we also wanted to share with you, I'm just going to bring it up here. We had Rindy, who is a diesel tech, and she has some pretty awesome TikTok videos. So we just wanted to give you a glimpse on what she has. Sorry, one second. That was just a quick one we had, but if you do, if you're on TikTok, I know a lot of people are these days, feel free to follow her. She has some pretty awesome videos. And then next, I'm going to share Michelle's. Bear with me one moment. Switching screens sometimes takes a little bit.
I started my career with waste management when I was 18. I was a helper throwing garbage, about 20 to 30 tons a day. Now, when I was growing up, I always pictured myself being an Olympian or a doctor. And for a long time, I wanted to be in the police force. But in high school, I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted. I had no idea what I was good at. And I didn't know what I could do. So I ended up dropping out and essentially thought I was going nowhere. And that's when my time with waste management started. Had I had the confidence then and the focus even, I would have gone on to one of my dream jobs. So it's funny how life works. When I was 18, I never aspired to drive a garbage truck. And as a parent, when I speak to my son, he's not talking to me about driving a garbage truck. But for my husband and I, we were truck drivers. He still is, and I was. We have no regrets of our career decision. And personally, there's nothing about my career path that I would change. All children, garbage truck drivers are heroes. They wait for them week after week, peering out the window, just for a chance to see the garbage go in the truck or the recycling go in the truck, and maybe see it cycle or the hopper dumped out. And my kids were no different. They got a chance to sit in garbage trucks and tour recycling facilities and be around a lot of equipment. And we have a lot of great memories because of it. Now, as my story goes on, after 8 years of driving, I did get to a point where I wanted a different type of challenge. But my time as a driver were key stepping stones to the next jobs to come. And that was of a route manager, frontline leader to the drivers, and then even an onboard manager, so somebody that worked with drivers, a driver trainer, watching, mentoring, and coaching drivers as they came in through the company. These progressive steps led me to the wonderful world of waste management recycling, where I got the opportunity to play with an abundance of equipment all day long, from conveyors to balers, loaders, optical sorters, you name it. Today, I am the fleet director over operations in Ontario and Quebec, with 24 years under my belt. I've met so many fabulous people and got to work in both Canada and the US. I have so many fond memories because of my time here. And if you were to tell me at 18 that this is all possible just by getting my DZ license, I would have said, no way. That's not me. It's too much of a bell curve. It can't be done. Wonderful thing is, it is possible.
All right, and then next I have a video from Darlene we're going to share.
Hi everyone, my name is Darlene and I have worked for LaFarge Guelph Ready Mix for over 22 years. Originally, I got my driver's license driving a school bus, but I realized I couldn't financially support my dreams of owning a home, raising a family, and traveling with this career. So I had to make a change. Joining LaFarge with their wages, benefits, and pension, I knew it would be possible. Although I was very nervous because I knew nothing about the industry, and not to mention I would be the first female in our area. Change is always a bit scary, right? I wondered how I would fit in. Turns out I fit in like a glove. For me, being outdoors, doing my own thing, and having the variety of work like we do at LaFarge is key. Each and every day is different, or should I say each load is different. That's what keeps my job interesting. I still enjoy getting up and going into work. I have made a lot of connections with coworkers and customers, and they make my job fun. If you think you have some interest, why not give it a shot? I mean, if I can do it, so can you.
And then last but not least, we have a video from Nicole. Nicole is also on TikTok. She has some pretty amazing videos on there as well, but I'll show you what we have for her.
Out of high school, I felt pressured to go to college, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. But I went twice. Neither time felt right, like it was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I went out into the world and I started working. I tried working in an office and that made me miserable. So I moved on to road construction, which is where I met a group of truck drivers. That is when I became fascinated with the lifestyle of a truck driver. When I got laid off that winter, I woke up one morning and I decided I was going to get my AZ. So I applied to second career and I was on my way to the best decision I ever made. I went in headstrong and determined. I never knew a thing about trucks, but I quickly found my passion in my newfound career. From my training school to my mentor to the network I've built today, I've had nothing but support and encouragement. I start every day on an adventure, grateful and mind-blown that I'm getting paid to do this. The money I've made, the places I've been, and the people I've met are things I could only dream about before. Even on the hardest days, I've never thought I hate my job. You know what they say, love your job and never work a day in your life.
And that's what we have for you in the videos. Again, thank you everyone, the panelists, Skills Ontario, everyone for having us here today. We really appreciate it. And next, I'm going to introduce you to the iMVR team. I know Vicky and Jeff is on the call today. They're gonna show you some technology and tracking. So Vicky, Jeff, if you wanna take over.
Vicky, I think you're muted.
Just working on, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Okay, we all good? Sorry about that. There we go. Welcome everyone, and thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to explain the other avenues that the trades and trucking have brought us and the opportunities that are out there. Skills Ontario, the Government of Ontario, the Women's Trucking Federation, thank you. And as my journey has unfolded in the transportation area, I never thought I would be where I am today and what has all unfolded along the way. What we're going to do today is show you the virtual reality, why we got into virtual reality, the opportunities, what it is giving to our industry in both trucking and trades. With that, Jeff May is going to go through our program, and we're going to do a live stream demo of this and how trades and all the different opportunities are available out there for us. Jeff May recently joined on to iMVR, and he is definitely the leading force behind our sales, but more importantly, getting this message out and understanding where we've came from and where we're going. It's very exciting. With that being said, I'm going to flip across to Jeff, and we're both here for you throughout this live presentation. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Really excited to be involved in this today. Just want to start off by saying that it kind of feels like home for me. A little bit of how I started in this industry and my background, and you'll understand the reference to feeling like home. I grew up in a trucking family. My family's been trucking going back 70 years. Father, my grandfather, both owner operators, over 40 years in the field. Grew up in a household with 7 women. And so it's really powerful to be here today and to see all the women that are making great strides in the industry. So again, my name is Jeff May. I am the Vice President and Technical Sales Director at iMVR Canada. And I also have another career path that I still actively pursue. I am a licensed diesel technician. I work for a Daimler Trucks North America family dealer of the Western Star brand. I am a Detroit Diesel factory trained certified technician. And what I can say is over the course of my career, the biggest support network in every aspect of this industry that I've worked in, the support team behind me has been a strong group of women who pay fine attention to detail. And without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it's really great that Vicky and I found ourselves, and we found ourselves together in business through our mutual friend Shelley of the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. I am also on the Industry Advisor Council for that. And some of you may know us by the truck that we put together. I'm going to have our man here. That's Destiny Star. That is a Western Star 5700 that I was very proud to be a part of putting together with Shelley. I transitioned my technical sales career as a technician up through the dealership ranks and then into the Western Star sales force as a salesperson. So to tie that back into where the trades has got me in the transportation industry, I became from an apprentice technician at a young age. I was able to become a fully certified salesperson where I make quite a lucrative career where the money is substantial. And it's really a rarity in this business for those that go into the trades. You become very good at your craft and you become an expert on it. You'll then be that much more equipped to sell it better than anybody else you're competing against. And that's where I've had some great success in my career. Further to that, some of you may know us from our other Western Star is sort of our Optimus Prime. There he is right there. We put that truck together with Paramount Pictures for the movie. So I referenced that to kind of lend some credence to some of the cool things that I've got to be a part of in this trade. We got to have that truck out at many trade events. I've been in it. I've been able to drive it. It's a pretty awesome piece of what industry people with a technical background in the transportation industry were able to partner with media and movie production and be able to do that. So with that being said, our big focus at iMVR is how the industry trains people. There's a few things that are really prominent right now in society. And number one is the environment. And where we feel we're going to make some big gains is our ability to use technology to pull traditional trucks off the road from the training environment. And with that, if we can use technology as a replacement in a controlled environment, we are going to lower our carbon emissions output in the transportation industry. So essentially what iMVR is a fully immersed environment in a virtual reality helmet. It is very much like gaming. And I'm going to leave the video right now where so what we're seeing here This is our lead trainer, Jordan. And Jordan is in the VR helmet in our training center, and he's about to go through a pre-trip inspection on a vehicle. So you'll see he's opened the hood. He's checking underneath this hood. As he's going through, he's got the flashlight there, and he's going through what we call a Schedule 1 inspection. He is making sure, but first and foremost, before that vehicle ever goes onto a roadway, that it is first safe to operate. And we'll see what he's going to do next here. He's now closing the hood. He's going to go down the side of his truck here, and he's going to go into the cab. He's going to do his in-cab portion of the inspection. Each item he's highlighting on will highlight on the screen. It'll light up to tell you that is a part of your inspection that you need to check off. So being able to use this as a tool, we feel visually is going to give much higher knowledge retention to any training candidate or student that may go through this training. Being able to visualize this is going to increase your knowledge retention. You'll see Jordan going down the side of the truck here. So basically, he can do his full inspection right here. Checking his wheel ends, checking his hub oils, checking off on his schedule that it's safe to operate. And this is all training that we can live demo in the field. If somebody wants to go through that and get a real feel for it, to try to get a handle on whether or not this is something you want to do as a career, this is something that's easily deployable in the field. Just checking his doors, making sure his latches are all safe. He's now going to go down to the underside of the vehicle. And here's the meat and potatoes. So as a licensed technician, I've spent the bulk of my career trying to basically find better ways to build, repair, and maintain trucks so that they stay safer longer and on the road. And then being able to take a driver through this and be able to visualize and then stop and pause and talk about it and be able to point things out. I would even consider using this for technical training for a technician. And we're going to get into a little bit of that here shortly. I think we can stop there. That gives you a pretty good idea of what we're capable of doing within the VR environment. Yeah, we'll do the other video now. So the other part of this is we're looking at getting into some future development of simulators. So this was actually last week. I was meeting with a hardware developer about building full-on truck simulation equipment to demonstrate driving. This gentleman basically has the replica of what is close to well, in that situation there, he's driving a Ferrari 458, and it is very realistic in his basement. The hardware capability within the transportation industry and within this type of business is phenomenal. That is a $4,000 Sparco steering wheel that's actually right out of a race car that was able to be programmed and adapted to a full-on race car simulator in this gentleman's basement. So basically, I went over there to meet with him to talk about the next evolution of our technology, is creating real-life simulation that you're able to do in a classroom. Programmable, we're able to put you in any real-life situation. And the way Vicky and I initially started talking was when I saw what she was capable of doing with the PDI inspection, being the mechanic in me and the fact that I'm working with a dealer, was how could I use the technology, and we use the technology at the secondary and post-secondary level, where if we could take any candidate who wanted to come into the trades and give them a better understanding at a very young and early age or stage of what it would be like if they could visualize that, as opposed to the traditional method. When I went to trade school, it was a teacher standing in front of me at a blackboard, and he was talking to me all day long. And after about, I won't lie, after about 5 minutes, I'd tone out and I would start playing Texas Hold'em poker on my phone, and I learned enough to take an exam and pass it and kind of go from there. To me, I didn't really retain much in trade school. And I think there's a way that as an industry that we need to further enhance and develop that. And I'm really excited to be working on technology here, which I think there's a better way that we can teach the up and coming youth of today. So that's where Vicky and I's conversations initially started at iMVR was, could we use this to train a technician? And I've run dealerships, I've run service shops, and I've watched apprentices come in, and it takes quite a bit of a time to really get a good understanding of what you're doing around a commercial vehicle or an automobile. My thought was that if we could take the youth at high school or in early college and we could immerse them in the VR environment, they would have been able to visualize how to repair something. And by the time they came out of school and they were to go into the workforce, how much more effective would they be if I sent them out into the shop to open the hood of a truck for the very first time and go, find this component for me, find this part, complete this repair. So what we're going to do is we're going to share some video of some very early technology we're working on with disassembling of a diesel engine. So my goal is to be able to take this technology with our design team, and we're going to make an engine that you can completely disassemble in the VR environment and rebuild it while you're still in school. If I can give you the visual and you can actually, you're going to use the hand controls to be able to take this apart and understand how it works and put it back together, how much more prepared would you be for the working world once you get out of school? In short answer, I think if I had this at that early stage in my career when I was going through trade school, I think it would be night and day about the amount of time it would take to train me, to make me a competent employee, to make me a competent technician, at least lay a better groundwork and a fundamental base understanding of what it was that I was going out there to accomplish. I think this is the future. And so starting from humble beginnings as an apprentice technician, coming out of high school, going through trade school, working my years on the floor, fixing the vehicles and getting my feet wet and figuring out how to do all of the work. And then most importantly, do the training. School doesn't stop in the trades. The cool thing about the trades is our technology is forever evolving. So ongoingly over the course of my 20-year career, I've gone back to school many times to learn new engine systems, new emission systems, new driveline systems, so transmissions and wheels and axles and brakes, new electrical systems. The big push right now is emissions. Our emissions technology is extremely advanced, and it's about making a greener and cleaner truck that's going to deliver the product to you. All the products you use now, everything you guys buy, Amazon, grocery store, clothing, electronics, it all comes on a truck. And it has to get there, and we have to do it safely and efficiently and effectively. And it takes a team, teams of people to drive them. It takes teams of people to fix and maintain them, and then it takes teams of people to run the companies that transport the product. So there's careers in safety and compliance, and Vicky will get back into a little bit of that with the other company that she does from that end of things in the trucking industry. Sales, part sales, warranty. There's endless driving. Driving is a big one. I come from a family of drivers, and I love the industry, and I knew that I wanted to be in it, and I couldn't have imagined starting out as an apprentice technician that I would be today here, essentially for all intents and purposes, designing a video game. It really what it is. It's literally like playing with video games for a job, and I think what it's given me in life is it's giving me something that I absolutely, and here we are. So the engine's now rotating, using this as a teaching tool to understand fundamentally how an engine works inside. I think just right now watching it, some of the people watching this call may never have really understood how it works. But you have your pistons going up and down, you have your camshafts rotating and opening your valves to let clean air in and dirty air out. And then you got the big explosion inside the cylinder, and that pushes your pistons up and down. If I sit there in front of you and I were to tell you that, you'd probably look at me like I have three heads. But being able to visually show you that, I don't think there's a better teaching tool that we could use. But yeah, to understand how I got here and where I started is nothing short of phenomenal, really. I love what I do. I love getting up every day. I started as a humble mechanic, and I honed my skills in my trade craft. And I think Michelle Martin, really led to it. You work for some companies now that give you really good opportunity, and those that can learn from the bottom up are going to excel and grow with those companies. There's so many opportunities. So yeah, I mean, within the dealership world, within transportation companies, and now to be working in the tech sector, I've got a really cool experience now. My son is in university for networking and cybersecurity, and he's actually doing some part-time work with us here at iMVR. And a big sector that's starting to get a lot of attention in the transportation sector is cybersecurity. It is a big task. It is a constant threat, and there is a career path for that that is going to have excellent career potential within the transportation sector. But I do want Vicky to step back in here. I thank you all for your time. We're more than happy to share. We'll get all of our contact information out to those that want it. More than happy to share, take calls if people have questions about getting into the trades. We're working on some partnerships with some post-secondary schools this year. We're working to get our technology out in front of them. I am a alma mater of Conestoga College. There is some very strong women that helped me get into school there and are still there, and they're huge for promoting the trades, and we want to help them grow those career paths together. So we're looking at getting in with some of the schools this year and doing some more demo and some more discussion. So I thank you for your time, and I'm going to pass it back over to Vicky, who's going to share about her other business, which revolves around safety and compliance within the transportation industry and some of the job prospects that go along with it.
Thanks, Jeff. Amazing what virtual reality does and the opportunity that is there. And like I say, Jeff just lightly touching on what the opportunity is. When I entered into trucking, I never, ever thought I would be in this position today. What I did know deep in is that I wanted to help others. I didn't know how or whatever. And here we are today, being able to get that message out, to be able to immerse in, understand we all learn differently. And I think it's great. I think it's absolutely fabulous. When I entered into the transportation industry, I soon evolved around, I was in safety and compliance, helping drivers be able to deliver the loads, stay compliant with insurance companies, all the regulatory authorities. And I soon opened up my own company. And that compliance company does drug and alcohol testing, compliance with the MTO on the US side, all the regulations. That also brought us into a lot of learning workshops. And that's where iMVR came from. What I'm saying with this is there's so many opportunities behind the wheel, definitely, but getting to that and all the different opportunities that are available. I never embraced or thought that as I'd be working with my daughter, and she's pretty much taken over the compliance company. It's amazing how it all comes together.
One other thing I want to touch on today, that if you're watching this video feed right now, we probably look pretty clear. We are in high def. I don't know how I feel about that now that I'm really looking at myself. But this is something that I never thought I'd be heavily involved in transportation. But coming on with iMVR, talking about transportation, trucking, safety, maintenance, training, we're working with a video production crew here today to do a lot of design and marketing material about increasing our social media capability. I mean, I'm certain there's many people on this call that can understand influencing on social media. That has a career path in itself. We're working with Geet Khalil Productions here today. Geet, did I say that right? Shile, sorry, my apologies. Geet's business is working with companies like ours to essentially do high definition video production, and he's helping us develop social media and video marketing materials that we are going to be specifically driving for the transportation sector. And that's a career path in itself, and that's some of the as we grow as a company, we're going to have to bring those skill sets in-house with our company to help further grow our company, where we outsource some of that now. But again, that's part of our business as we grow within this segment of the industry. These are some of the positions that we're going to have to fill and we're going to have to grow. So just something to keep in mind. There are a lot of opportunities in the transportation sector at a number of different levels.
Just as a quick reminder with that, I'm going to let a little bit of Keith's background. He actually started as a mechanic in a local trucking company.
That's right, you did.
And that's how we connected together. And it was, he came into the industry understanding, and he's gone off on this. So I guess where we're going at with this, there's so much opportunity. Embracing in the VR side of things and learning, experiment, find out what is available. When you're totally immersed in it, you will soon be led to where the opportunities are.
Absolutely.
Right. With that,
I
is there
think
any
that-
questions?
yeah, is there any
If we can get more
questions?
VR, we're here to help and answer. No, Lindsay, anything? Let's look it on the chat.
Samantha?
I don't know if Lindsay's getting anything on her end. I'm just taking a look in the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, nothing else coming out on the other side, sorry.
There we go. As the questions are coming through and whatnot, in the virtual reality, being able to experience things in a safe environment is relaxing. It gives comfort. And when we're comfortable, I know we understand better and we retain that information. With that being said, we can attach, we call that couple a trailer, or unattach a trailer in the VR in a safe environment. And it's okay. We learn by our mistakes, as with the panelists. Like it was amazing, the panelists. That's how we learn. And it's how we learn and how we take these. Being able to do that in this way is an opportunity. Being able to drive a truck and be able to immerse yourself in. And it's, as you say, it's fun learning.
It really is fun learning.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most rewarding experiences so far in my career. And sales mechanics has been rewarding at every level. I think this was it's a really good fit between Vicki and I, and it something that I never envisioned in a million years when I started into this business, where I started, that I would be here doing what I'm doing today. And it just really makes it fun to get out of bed and make a living every day. And that living is quite lucrative and quite substantial. I'm very proud of what I've been able to accomplish. And it really just started with an idea. So I would challenge anybody who's on this call, if you like building Lego, I'll tell you right now, it started with Lego for me. You like building Lego. If you like tinkering with a bike, an ATV, a boat, a car, these are things you enjoy doing. If you like building and taking things apart, working with your hands, if you like figuring out how things work, analytical thinking, if you like to look at something and go, how does that work? These are all skill sets that are within strong people within this business. If you're looking at mechanics as a starting point. And Michelle was a Lego girl too. Awesome reference. Love it. Yeah, I think, really from a market and employment standpoint, with the dealership I work with today, with the Western Star dealer, we're at I'm going to say, it's a challenge. It is very much a challenge to find skilled tradespeople, to find youth that want to go into this trade. Some people look at it as a dirty career. They look at it as that, I'm going to get greasy, I'm going to get dirty, you're a grease monkey. That is such nonsense. Literally, I spent last week doing technical consulting with a couple of my fleet customers, and literally what I was out doing was I was using a laptop computer out in the field connected to customers' transport truck, and we were trying to diagnose some emissions and fuel consumption issues using technology. And what I can do with a laptop computer on a commercial vehicle far eclipses that of your car. Now, cars are getting more advanced, but so are trucks. Some of our latest truck offerings have some of the most advanced safety systems known to man. Some of my drivers on this call probably aren't going to what I like to have to say here, but some of the new safety suite packages that are coming on commercial vehicles, we have forward-facing and inward-facing cameras. Yes, drivers, you don't want the inward-facing cameras, but they're not constantly recording. What they're doing is, in the event of a collision, they're going to capture the last 30 seconds prior to that accident. The camera technology is also with truck-mounted radar is designed that if a pedestrian walks out in front of that truck, we have automatic braking systems now that will and for all intents and purposes, stop that truck on a dime before it ever causes that collision. Lane departure, automatic cruise control, and yes, autonomous vehicles are coming. That is a developing segment of the industry. Autonomous self-driving vehicles, which we feel will always have a driver inside, much like the Tesla cars have now. But what it's to do is to help reduce with the driver fatigue. If the truck and the computer systems on board can take over the majority of the driving, and the driver is just there for the emergency purposes and to make sure that it gets from point A to point B, at the end of the day, I don't think a driver is ever going to be out of a truck completely, because as a company, and we can appreciate this, you lose that customer service. I know the ladies on this call, they've all touched on it, that the customer's happy to see you there, that you're bringing them their freight, that you're help getting that load to its final destination. And that could be everything from auto parts to somebody's Christmas gifts to the breakfast cereal that you put on your table. So big segments of the industry. And then electric vehicles, they're coming in the transportation industry as well. And that is going to take a completely higher skill set at an engineering level, which I also get to work closely with too. So it's just a lot of cool opportunity.
I see that there's a question that has come up. If they're to reduce their carbon footprint, why don't they switch to hybrid systems?
That's a really great question. I don't know if anybody follows any transportation related influencers on TikTok, but there's a guy named Chase Barber. Chase Barber strikes a tone with me because he's just a down to earth guy. And he's started a company out in Western Canada called Edison Motors, I believe. I think it's Edison. He's sort of kind of piggybacking off of Thomas Edison. And what he's building is he's building a diesel electric truck. And what he's doing is he's going to use very classic old 1960s and 70s classic styling trucks where he's going to have a diesel engine. That diesel engine is going to drive an electric motor. And the electric motor is going to do the brunt of the work, because electric motors have the ability to for limitless power and torque to drive a heavy commercial vehicle. Using that diesel engine, the diesel engine's only going to run at a very constant, steady speed. There'll be no fluctuation of that up and down that you see with your car now when you go from start. It's just going to run more or less like a generator at a constant speed, which is really, really efficient. And they will use that diesel generator to drive the electric motor to do the bulk of the work. So this is something that there's just a guy who's a truck driver who also holds in that. This is a really good story if you're researching. He's just a guy who's a truck driver who holds an engineering degree, and he holds a business degree as well. And he went into the logging industry in Western Canada, and he's just like, you know what, I wanted to drive a truck. And as he's been in the truck, he's just continually talked about how can we improve the industry? How can we improve the business? How can I be part of the solution to make the industry better, to make it safer, to make it greener, to make it more efficient? So, and he's on TikTok, and I appreciate, because he uses a little bit of humor to get his message across. And I think that, you know, for all the serious we can be about all of these things, I think there's a way we can have fun when we're doing all of it. So that's one good reference. And yes, we are working on hybrids. There has been multiple studies using natural gas. The one right now, obviously, and the one that I think would show the biggest potential is hydrogen, because at the end of their combustion process, you're essentially just putting out straight water vapor, which is perfectly fine for the environment. So that is a great question. And it's going to take questions and people that are intuitive like that continually coming into this industry to help fill those roles that are going to help us build and advance that technology well into the future. So great question.
Vicki, did you see there was another question up above?
Oh,
was there a lot of formal learning you had? So VR seems like a totally different skill set. Was there a lot of formal learning you had to do?
I'm sorry, where's this? What
So
skill set?
it's Nicole Chapman, what she's asking, she's saying VR,
VR.
VR seems like a pretty different skill set, probably a little intimidating and complex. So what was your background that got you into this?
Absolutely love this question. Well done.
Tell them what your actual background is, please.
I grew up on a dairy farm.
Look at that.
I really did.
Milk and cows.
I really, really did. Yeah, all wagon as we hear in the industry and whatnot. Yeah, that was me. Enjoyed every minute of it. Driving around on quads, enjoyed every minute of it. Honestly, I'm the person
Let's go mudding.
that will take my phone and I'll pass it across to somebody else to help me. Because I can't, that's not where my mind is, but to be able to envision what can, and where this all came from through our learning. and doing the workshops with drivers, coming back in and having other questions and having a different way of learning, that was the concept behind all this. One day I put a headset on with a colleague, and I had to do something that was extremely challenging, and that was speaking in front of 50 people about the company. I froze. But what that told me was that as I put that headset on, that there's a different way of learning. We all, look what this can do. I didn't know how to, but what I did understand is if you embrace the right people around you and get into where you believe, things will unfold. And it's the team that we have around us that is giving the tool to the industry to be able to help others learn. And there's nothing more rewarding than that. So yeah, as far as VR, no, it's the team all around. We all giggle amongst it and whatnot. But no, I did have no formal.
You touched on something there, and I'd like to speak on it because I think it's important. For all the fun and the fun and enjoyment that we have today, my beginning was a very difficult one. Struggled heavily with mental health in my younger years. I didn't actually graduate high school until I was in my mid-20s, where two wonderful women at Conestoga College could see the work ethic that I had in me, and that I had a desire, and they gave me an opportunity to do my GED in my mid-20s and start taking a pre-apprenticeship college course at the same time. So I had to work twice as hard. I had to do trade school courses all day, and then I had to finish my GED after school in order to get through my first year, because you do have to have your grade 12 in order to enter into a Red Seal trade. The mental health struggle, yeah, there's a whole lot of fear in my life. Speaking in front of people, I know that I had a bit of a nervous whatever right when we first went on camera here, and I'm seeing myself in HD. I mean, it happens. We're human. We're all going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I struggled immensely in my life, but what the trades did, I'll be quite honest, the trades saved my life. The trades gave me a focus and a passion in something that I found that I was good at. And just having that thing to get up and go do every day took me out of a really bad, dark place in life, and helped me get back on track. And it happened fairly quick, because it doesn't happen overnight, but all of a sudden you get up and you're learning something, and you learn something new, and you learn something new. And my philosophy is life, you should never stop learning in life. But what it did is it just started to reignite a bit of a fire in me. And from there, I just really found that, and I kind of just took off. It put me on a trajectory and a path that I was able to finish my education, buy my first house. I have 3 beautiful kids. Put one of them now into university. Really, the trades and trucking gave me everything. Some of my greatest successes in the industry are doing things like working with Shelley at the Women's Trucking Federation. And that's a bit of a funny story. Shelley used to work for a company called Sharp Transportation. And forgive me, Shelley, I know you're still working off and on with the guys and Sean over there. But I was a young salesman, and their owner Sean sent Shelley into my office. And Shelley's a very matter-of-fact woman, one of the toughest ladies I know in the transportation business, and one of the best drivers I know. And she's incredibly smart, and she is the CEO of the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. And what she's done with that organization is absolutely remarkable. It's a self-made success story, but she drives a hard bargain. And her company was looking to purchase new trucks, and before they would buy those trucks, their boss, or their president, Sean, who knows how Shelley drives a hard bargain, he sent her into my office, and I had to win her over. And long story short, we started this relationship where we've been able to do things like build the Destiny Star truck and have that in the campaign that she's on right now to combat human trafficking, and the training she's doing in the industry, and just taking it again from humble beginnings and be able to work with her, and to watch that grow is just, it's one of the coolest things that I think I've ever gotten to be part of. It's formed a bond between Shelley and I that is going to stand the test of time, and I love her to death. But just another good story about starting out in the industry and then finding yourself in places you never could have imagined in all these different paths. So that's really all I have to say about that. But I'm getting the hook that we're going to wrap it up for time here. So we appreciate the time today and looking forward to future discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff and Vicky, for that. I know I got the opportunity to kind of get a sneak peek yesterday, and it kind of blew my mind just, how advanced things are becoming and how much technology is being integrated into the skilled trades and into careers in general. So I thank you both so much for sharing that. And please do pass along your information. So for those of us who are joining us today, we'll make sure you have that information and you can reach out to them if you'd like to learn more. So with that, that does wrap up our event for today. So the nice thing is all of our events are so unique and we always learn something new. And I definitely learned a lot today, and I hope each and every one of you did as well. So we will be sending out a post-event email later on, and it will include a survey link. Please complete that to help us enhance our programming. I'd also like to give one final shout out to the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada, our speakers, iMVR, for volunteering their time to be here and with providing us with all this great content. So let's give them a big virtual round of applause. It was definitely awesome, everything that you shared today. We would once again like to thank our Young Women's Initiatives program sponsors, so the Government of Ontario, Magna, and our event co-host, so Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. We hope you enjoyed today's event and have discovered more about the skilled trades and technologies and how they can affect our everyday lives. So if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And we thank you again for joining us, and we wish you all a great day. So thank you, everybody.